Before we get going on today's summer shoot around, this is my reminder that if you are a fan of a school that is not a part of our predetermined list of schools for shoot around episodes, there are 3 separate auctions that you can bid on to get the bonus episode for our summer shoot arounds, and those episodes will publish in September. So if you're watching on YouTube, you want to go right here, top right corner of the screen right there, hit that QR code, or we've got links in the description. If you are listening to the podcast, the auction links to the 3 separate auctions are in the description as well. They'll be in this one, they'll be in the next one, they'll be in the one after that. The deadline, this is key, is August 14th. The schools that have already been determined are St. John's, Houston, BYU, Purdue, UConn, Florida, Texas Tech, Duke, Kentucky, Louisville, Kansas, Arkansas, and North Carolina. So if you didn't hear your school mentioned and you want us to talk about it, you want to ask questions, you want to actually help produce a summer shoot-around episode, you can be a fan of a big-time program or a mid-major in the middle of nowhere. If you bid the most, you will win, and you will get your bonus episode dedicated to your favorite school. So go to the link, rally your friends. In about a week's time, we'll have 3 separate winners. Bid now, bid frequently, and we'll talk to you soon. Folks, we have shifted. Gary Parrish hosted the first 5 episodes of Summer Shoot Around, and now your boys in the captain's chair. Our medley of guests continues with some guys who I first met in the flesh, I believe at the 2019 Final Four, where they were dressed nearly identically, all wearing backpacks like giddy boys on the first day of school. It was absolutely adorable. Never lose that spirit. I know I try not to. I have followed their work for almost a decade at this point. Real ones know that the 3-Man Weave podcast is as reliable of a college hoops pod for nitty-gritty analysis as literally any that you will find in the space. So the 3-Man Weave Eye on College Basketball collab that has been literally years in the making, it's here today. Jim Root, Kai McKeon are here from 3-Man Weave. Maddie Cox bailed, so I'm the other Maddie, but crucially, this is still a 3-Man Weave with a Matt. How about that? So yeah, I'll step into the flow as we make our way down the proverbial hardwood. The Wee Fellas not only have a terrific college hoops pod, they are also now contributing to the new independent college hoops online outlet that goes by Basket Under Review. There's a motley crew of metrics-minded men making noise over there, and the whole thing is spearheaded by a guy with a nom de plume. Trilly Donovan, if you have not heard of him, he started this whole thing, and even though the site's a little more than a month old at this point, it looks really promising. They got a lot of content. The Weave guys have already beaten us at CBS way to the punch with their top 100 players list. A little early, by the way, Jim and Kai. Okay, a little early. Okay, maybe tap those brakes a little bit. They are also in the midst of an elongated countdown to the top 50 teams heading into next season. Right now, they're in the 30s. Jim, Kai, thanks for joining the show. It's great to see you guys. Appreciate it.
It's great to be here, Matt. It's good to have a third Weaver that's not Matt Cox. I feel like we've got a lot more high quality on the microphone this time. Kai, that's why we don't have guests on our show, because we don't do intros like that. That's as good as it gets, and we're really excited to be here.
That's right. Famously unscripted and also poor production, and we've been doing it for years too. This is how we roll. But yeah, Matt, great to be here. Appreciate you having us. Fantastic intro. You made us sound really cool.
You guys are really cool. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you see Jim's setup. He's a disgusting Packers fan. And thankfully, the QR code to go bid on the auctions is blocking the Packers helmet. Before we were getting ready to go, I usually save my Bears stuff for when we get to like September, but he forced me. So I got the Bears football behind me there. I got the mini helmet there. I may or may not have Jim put on the Packers helmet before we get to the end show. We'll see on that. By the way, Kai is rocking the 3-Man Weave custom vinyl backdrop, which I appreciate. I will just say this. Be happy that it's me and not Parrish, because the fact that the vinyl backdrop is not cleanly in the shot, you got a little bit of it would drive Parrish nuts. Like it would drive me off the wall. He might not have even started recording the show if he saw that. So count your blessings that it's me and not him. But I appreciate you guys coming on, and also to everyone that's watching the show or listening that normally, follows everything Weave. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Feel free to take a tour around the shoot around episodes. There's plenty of college hoops podcast love to satisfy everyone across the this great landscape of ours. So let's get it rolling here. Let's talk Florida. I'm actually in particular excited to have these guys on to talk the reigning national champions, because there's a lot of intriguing stuff happening here with what Todd Golden's working with and the guys that he lost, what he brings back. I'm just fascinated to see what these two in particular think is fair to expect. They haven't revealed yet where they have Florida. Whether they want to or not is up to you guys. Maybe you guys haven't even gotten to that point, but we can get to that in just a little bit. Let me run down the roster stuff first. Let's get a quick reset on Florida. We know they won the national title, but quick reset from my end, and then we're gonna let Kai and Jim for the most part dominate this pod. They beat Houston 65-63 in the national title game. They were 1 seed. They're coming off a record-setting 14-bit SEC, obviously. Remember, Florida narrowly escaped. They had a couple of amazing games. I think start to finish, I think the UConn game was their best game and their biggest test of the whole thing. In fact, I asked Carlin Hartman. I was fortunate enough to be on with the team after they won. I went on the bus for the post-championship celebration. I asked Carlin Hartman what was the toughest test of them all, and he was like, well, they're all tough, but if you made me pick one, pretty sure he told me that the UConn one was indeed it, while giving plenty of obviously respect to the Houston team that they barely just narrowly escaped. UConn was a thriller start to finish, no doubt about it. They and by the way, if you have not listened to the shoot around with Parrish and Rob Doster, please go do that. That's just a couple episodes back. They bounced Maryland in the Sweet 16, and then they overcame a 9-point deficit with less than 3 minutes to go against Texas Tech. Texas Tech had a double-digit lead in that game for a good portion of the second half. I just rewatched it. The Walter Clayton Jr. casual, I'm amongst the tall trees, I'm going to jog out to the three-point line and casually hit a turnaround fadeaway to give my team the lead for the first time in ages, remains insane and part of an 18-4 run. They get out of there. They beat Tech. They make the Final Four. Then they beat Auburn by 6, get to Houston in the title game. And now Todd Golden, he's now 40, but he won it at the time when he was 39. He was the youngest coach to win a national title, guys, since Valvano was 37 in 83 with NC State. But we have a trivia time. Trivia time. You ready?
Yes. Let's do it.
If you're curious, who do you think the youngest coach ever is to win a men's NCAA championship? Who was it? How old? What year?
Oh boy.
This came up.
Tough.
I feel like this came up once or twice just in general college basketball media as Florida was doing it, because Golden was getting a little bit of run for being a coach that could win it in his 30s.
Are we going to know this guy's name, Matt? Or is it
don't know if you'll know his name. I don't know if you'll know his name. Color TV was not around when he did it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we know that it's the context clues that it's before Valvano did it. So
for sure.
How old was Don Haskins when he did it? I don't know.
I want to say Haskins was mid-30s. He's not the answer, but that's a good call.
I don't think I have it, Kai.
You're stumping me. No, I don't either. Yeah.
You lose.
Give him a double. Branch McCracken, Indiana.
Oh, yeah, old Branch.
A fresh 31 years old when the Hoosiers did it. This is probably never going to get broken. 31 and closer to 32 than 31. They won it the second ever NCAA tournament, 1940. Indiana, Branch McCracken, 31. I had to drop a trivia time on you. Before we get to the break and get to a roster rundown and stuff, we're talking Florida, we're talking SEC. You guys are doing a whole series where you're going to rank coaches in every conference, right? So you have a list of SEC. Right. Can we get a little cross posting, so to speak here? Can I get your list and what the I don't know what the criteria was for assembling said list for all 16 coaches in this league?
Yeah, I'll fire it off here. And for those listening, they're lucky that Kai is not at Costco answering this, because a summer ago, Kai answered his ACC coach rankings while shopping at Costco, and it didn't turn out well. No.
Well,
so
these now do come in bulk, so it does make sense on that. I wanted to bring up in particular because I'm fascinated to see where Golden falls in line with everything here.
Yep. So criteria-wise, I kind of mostly excluded player acquisition because I think that's so heavily based on NIL budgets right now, and it's just harder for me to factor in and totally put my mind around. So there's a lot more X and O talent maximization type thing approach to the game. I ended up with Golden second in the SEC. I think he's way up there. We've kind of gone to bat for him for a couple off seasons, and maybe should have gone to bat for him a little more last off season after falling off the train a little bit. Do you want him 1 through 16, Matt?
Let's go 16-1.
16-1. Matt McMahon, LSU, 16. Mike White of Georgia, 15. Lamont Paris of South Carolina.
Same.
Dennis Gates of Missouri.
Same.
I'm a Mizzou alum. So
wow, Gates at 13. By the way, this is for anyone listening. This is Jim talking and Kai just echoing same.
Yes, that's right. Good. Now we'll differ. Surely we will shortly here.
Maybe.
Bucky McMillan, Texas A&M down at 12.
How are you going him that
Same.
high when he hasn't coached a game in the SEC yet? I'm sorry to interject real quick, but that's like, I think Dennis Gates kind of objectively has to be above Bucky at this stage.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that, Matt. We're
That's the-
biased.
yeah, Dennis Gates also has an 0-19 season on his resume, but hey,
Fair.
maybe that's what Bucky will do his first game. I doubt it, but maybe there's some anti-homerism in my rankings there. At 11, I have Sean Miller of Texas.
Man, same.
Porter Moser, 10th from Oklahoma.
Whoa, you've
Same.
got Sean Miller at 11?
I do.
You know, there's
do.
a time, this is turning into more of a segment than I thought it would be. There was a time not so long ago when Sean Miller was not near universally, but widely in the very short top 2, top 3 list of best coaches in the sport not to make a Final Four. And now you've got him at 11 out of 16 in the SEC.
It's a really good conference of coaches. I'll try that little caveat sweetener for Texas fans, but I didn't love the last couple of years at Xavier. Number 10, I said Porter Moser, Oklahoma. Number 9, John Calipari of Arkansas. Wondering where he was going to come up.
Jim, we're exactly the same.
Engagement farming right now is way beyond anything I thought I could have dreamed of happening on this episode.
Jim and I are 16-9, exactly the same. Which
That's
is
crazy.
Absolutely wild.
Great.
Yeah.
Number 8, Mark Byington of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Number 7, Chris Jans of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Number 6, Bruce Pearl of Auburn.
Ooh, now
There we
we're
go.
different.
We got a difference.
Now we're different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5, Mark Pope of Kentucky. 4, Chris Beard, Ole Miss. 3, Rick Barnes, Tennessee. 2, Todd Golden, Florida. And number 1, Nate Oates of Alabama. Kai, give me your top 6 since we know 7 through 16 is the same.
Yeah, I went 6 Beard, 5 Pope, 4 Barnes, 3 Golden, 2 Bruce Pearl, number 1 Nate Oates.
Broadly speaking, can you put Nate Oates ahead of Bruce Pearl when Bruce Pearl has made the Final Four twice and Nate Oates can't claim that? Close.
It's tougher to do. I mean, Pearl's been there longer and been a coach longer. So that's part of it, I guess, for me. I think Oates will get a second one. But yeah, it's not as much accomplishments, historical resume based as it is like if I gave all 16 coaches the same roster for next season, what order do I think they'd finish? That's maybe one way to summarize it.
Barnes is fascinating because he's the longest tenured. Is he longer than Cal? I think he is. I don't know off the top of my head. Who has more seasons, Cal or Barnes? You know?
I'm pretty sure it's Barnes.
Yeah. Obviously, there's been a lot of March letdowns. You have to factor that in. You cannot. I just don't think you had Pope above Miller, but then you had Pope above someone else. And I was like, "There's no shot." Who did you have?
I think I had him ahead of Pearl. That's probably the one you're gonna.
Yeah, that's indefensible.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is. I'm sorry. Like that's objectively indefensible. Like he's a good coach. I think Bruce Pearl and Kai's got Pearl at. You said 2, right?
I got 2.
Yeah. I even think Todd Golden, even with the national title, wouldn't allow himself to be ranked ahead of Pearl, who obviously he helped break him into the coaching business to a certain extent. That's a hell of a list. I'm going to tease our listeners. If you want more on that, again, 3-man weave, have an article up at, I assume, will that be on Basket Under Review? Or will just be podcast content?
Strictly podcast.
Strictly podcast content. I'll leave all the other defending of that stuff to their episode there. That is spicy. That is a hard list to compile. And yes, the SEC, obviously the coaching roster is mega deep. I was going to plan to do the Florida roster breakdown before the break and then get to that after with their guys' thoughts. But you know what, Nada? Let's hop in now. We're going to take a quick break. After that, we'll remind you who's still here, who's gone, and then the Weave guys and their outlook on the Gators in 25-26.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Okay, Gators roster. Notable names gone. Obviously, Walter Clayton Jr., a top 3 player in the sport last season. He's out. Elijah Martin, gone. Will Richard, out. Denzel Aberdeen, off to Kentucky after Florida refused to meet his lofty NIL demands. Notable names back are all in the front court. Alex Condon, Ruben Chinliu, Thomas Houck, and Micah Hanlogden. New to the field here, you got Xavier Lee, and these are the most notable names, obviously, and Boogie Flan. Lee comes by Princeton. Flan comes from Arkansas. Ohio transfer A.J. Brown also put up more than 13 a game last season. Freshman-wise, C.J. Ingram is a 6'6", 4-star wing, ranked 19th in the class. And Alex Lloyd, number 41, shouts to Dave Matthews Band, and the 247 rankings is a 6'3" shooting guard. That's the roster. You guys take it away. And Kai, I'll throw it to you first. General thoughts on Golden as a coach so far? He won the damn national title. So some of this is obvious, but let's go as big picture as we want, from when he got the job to what it is now, all that. Thoughts on what he's done and expectations with the names that I just listed off as Florida attempts to be a team that gets back to the Final Four. We're talking about him now because Gary Parrish has him 6 in his offseason rankings.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a top 5 team, and Todd Golden, his whole philosophy and the way he builds teams is just how you should do it in this day and age. He targets specific needs in the portal. He doesn't just accumulate talent like a lot of coaches around the country. He addresses specific needs. He uses analytics correctly in his evaluations, and he takes guys that fill a specific hole on the roster. Like this season, he brought in backcourt talent. He brought in a talented superstar potentially in Flan, an old veteran guy in Lee, and then a steady veteran backup player in A.J. Brown. Didn't need front court players, didn't grab front court players. So he knows what he's doing. The staff obviously has been talked about a lot. He has a little bit of brain drain this summer with Hovde and Andrzejczyk leaving. But I still think he did a great job building this roster. Have faith in Klatsky coming down from NYU. And like I said, top 5 team for me, arguably 3 of the top 30, 40 players in the country. There's a lot to like.
Jim?
Yeah, I love the cue he took kind of from Mark Few a little bit in his WCC days of play fast, dominate the rim. And he's got multiple bigs on the floor at all times. They've probably got the best stable of bigs in the entire country with everybody they've got back from last season. And I think we saw how important Hadnogton was when they pulled the medical redshirt off him, and he just gave them a whole new shot of life in mid-February. So they're going to be awesome at the rim, defending it, scoring at it, getting easy points in transition. And then from there, as Kai mentioned, is filling in the blanks around there. All right, let's get some ball handlers in there. Last year's team, I think the floor is high this year because of the bigs, but the ceiling was raised last year because of the shot making of Clayton, of Martin, of Will Richard, and some of the stretches that especially Clayton could have. And that's probably not repeatable, but you've got a couple guys that have a chance at it with Lee and with Fland. And there's, some tinkering to be done with the lineup, especially at the 3 spot with the announcement, or, he said it's probably going to be Tommy Houck at the 3 and playing a little bit more of a jumbo lineup, but they've got some bites at the apple for other guards, other wings. And I think that's important. It's not just reliant on one guy. There's 4 or 5 that could emerge and be that key piece to go with the bigs. And I think the point guards, the dual guard system will work well for them.
Here's Golden just won a title in his 3rd season. That's obviously rare. You don't, in the history of men's D1 ball, for a coach to step in to a high major program, even however you defined a high major in the 60s and 70s when the landscape was different, to be able to win in that. It had been done before, but it's not common to get your first high major job and win the whole damn thing by year 3. Obviously speaks to Golden's acumen overall. Year 1, 16 and 17. All right, getting your sea legs with you. A year ago, 7 seed, get bounced in a really tremendous game against Colorado in the 7-10 game, and then they get the 1 seed. We can keep looking ahead, but I want to say that Florida was the 4th 1 seed in the pecking order, and they really, and I didn't have a disagreement on that, but the ones were so good, and it was so appropriate that they all made the Final Four, which is the only second time that had happened, that I actually felt at the time that if you really wanted to try and build a case for any of the ones to be the number 1 overall seed, you could do it. And for Florida, having won the SEC tournament and all that, they were, a 4-loss team going in, they wind up going 36-4, and lo and behold, look what he's done. But he did have the shooting last year. If you're a Florida fan, you're over the moon. Just big picture on this. Billy Donovan, who's getting formally inducted into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame next month. He wins back-to-back championships. That was, we did our top 25 stories over the past 25 years, and that was a top 15 story. And prior to that, Florida had made the Final Four in 2000 and 94, and it had been a program that was like, okay, we are a place where we think we're the second best to Kentucky. Like it's us 2 and then everyone else. And there was obviously a dip under Mike White. You both got him 15 out of 16. He's now at Georgia, obviously. But for Golden to have brought Florida back and done it, like, who knows if you're ever going to win a national championship if you hire. There are very few head coaches when they are hired, the fan base is like, okay, we will and we should win a national championship. Okay, of course, it happens occasionally, but most hires is like, okay, can we just have a team that's, can be a top 4 team in our league more years than not, all that stuff. Here's Golden wins the damn thing in year 3. And now, as a result of that, Florida has reclaimed a place among the, in my opinion, among the 10 to 12 most important programs in the sport. It wasn't there 3 years ago. It wasn't there 8 years ago. It was there. Donovan obviously, of course, also made another Final Four before he left for the NBA for good. And to see how this team and how Golden and his staff move forward this season after having won the national title, I think it's going to be really interesting. I'll call him a high major coach of note. Certainly one of the 10 to 15 most recognizable coaches in the sport. Okay. And we got talking a number of things on the recruiting trail, and we got to talking about Florida for whatever reason. I'm not going to say whether the coach is in the SEC or not. It could be, could not. But he said, Golden is so smart and they're so interesting to me. But what I'm fascinated to see with him is look at that roster. Look at Condon. Look at what Houck does. I think the coach said, look at the really big kid who comes off the bench, meaning Hanlogden. And then you bring in Lee, who's a little bit undersized, and Fland, who was erratic. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but the coach essentially said, are they going to always play with 3 non-shooting bigs? And how reliable is the shooting going to be from those 2 guards? Like, what are they going to have next season from a shooting perspective? How are they going to overcome that? Is Florida going to need to be one of the 3 best defensive teams in the country? Last season, they finished 6th in per possession. So long wind up from me, Jim, I'll throw it to you first. Is there viable concern here that with a lack of steady, proven shooting, that most college basketball media is overrating Florida, and this could prove to be a team that's, not even top 16, top 18 good because it won't wind up having the perimeter shooting that's required to get through that SEC and beyond?
I'd be shocked if they fell that far just because of the rim dominance and being a top probably 10 team at the rim on both ends, both offense and defense. And last year they're above the 90th percentile in field goal percentage at the rim on offense and defense. But to your point, all 3 of their wing guards took at least 10 threes per 100 possessions last year. So there's always guys ready to light up from deep. And Clayton was one of the best in the country, kind of was getting Steph comparisons at the end of it. And this year, Lee and Fland are right around that mark in attempts, but I don't get the same sense that they're as, flamethrowers as the guys last year. And Houck started to shoot a little more. He hit some huge shots in that Texas Tech comeback that you mentioned, kind of helped set the table for Clayton to hit that giant shot. But he's not going to be that high of volume. He's not going to be a movement shooter. I think he's just kind of if my feet are set and they're too focused on the paint, then it sets up well. But the fact that they never really even tried Houck at the 3 last year, even when Hanlogden came back, tells me a little bit that I think if you gave the Florida coaches true serum, they'd want one more wing and would really want someone to emerge from that stable of Brown, Ingram, Lloyd, or even Klavzar, and just have another guy that can shoot it. So maybe they're going to have to be a little more flexible and kind of self-examine and try to figure out how to get better shots or more going towards the rim, because as you said, and last year you just kind of watched them. Kai, I think the shot making that they had was so high level that it even offset sometimes if they got into a rut in their half court execution.
Yeah, absolutely. And Walter Clayton, there's nobody on this roster that's Walter Clayton. He was incredible. And there's no one on the roster that's Elijah Martin. He's got the dog in him type of attribute. I mean, he truly was incredible. And I think his loss has been understated a little bit, even Will Richard. But I agree, shooting is a concern. I'm not selling Houck short on any development this offseason. I think he could literally be All-American good. Obviously, that's what they want Flan to be. But I think that's why they brought in A.J. Brown. They saw a guy who could make shots. I think that's going to be his role, come off the bench, hit shots. I'm not sure he's going to do much else at this level. But, again, smart get by Golden once again. And as Jim kind of alluded to, though, okay, shooting, it's important. But if you're going to rebound at a top 10 rate on the offensive glass once again, it kind of makes up for it a little bit.
AJ Brown will have to step up big. He was a 38% shooter overall last season, but if you look at his tier A numbers, career-wise, tier A. Now, it's not a lot of, to pilfer your phrase, Jim, it's not a lot of bites at the apple. 36%, 9 of 25 from three, career. Other guys, Fland, now he missed some time, obviously. 34% from three last season. We'll see on that. Xavier Lee taking a big step up. Career three-point shooting, 34%, and definitely had some moments against bigger teams where he did not necessarily thrive. He's had some ups and downs. Certainly an interesting talent. Also, how they choose to have the ball in Lee and Fland's hands. I actually do trust Golden and his staff to get really creative. Kai, your Hauk point is super fascinating to me. Let's dig into this a little bit here. I do think he's got a really good shot. By pure coincidence, I happened to write a fairly in-depth on the road in the air feature. I was with Golden and that staff a few years ago when we went from Atlanta to Chicago to Cartersville, and we bounced around over 2 or 3 days. And the biggest name that they were recruiting that they thought that they were going to get was Hauk at the time. And he was on the Under Armour circuit. He stood out, but he was not like a, whoa, okay, this guy's going to change Florida's program. It was okay. Can see how he'd be like a good 3-4 year player. Lo and behold, he's really developing into something. I think Condon's got some NBA future potential. Mm-hmm. So between Condon, Hauk, and I think Fland, and I say this all with respect to Lee, who I think is going to have some nice moments. I don't think Lee can be their best player. What do we think the most likely scenario is that Florida's number 1, 2, 3 in terms of overall value for best players next season? Jim, you go first.
I think it's Condon because of the playmaking and the fact that they can kind of play through him. And Hauk's a great passer too, but Condon's he had some moments against Houston where I was like, oh, can that guy never dribble the ball again, please? But he was maybe better before he got hurt. I mean, he's the best player on the floor against Auburn when they won at Auburn. And I just think like the way he fits into the offensive rebounding that Kai mentioned, if they're top 5, top 10 in that, he's going to be a big part there. Matching with the skill development he's had as a post scorer and just the passing, the playmaking, they can kind of run handoffs with him or make him the trigger man in some of the off ball movement that they have for their shooters. I'll put him narrowly at the top, but Hauk continues to develop like crazy. I think there's kind of an interesting comparison to be made between him and Alex Karaban, coming off the 2 national titles, rising into a junior. Is he the star for UConn? Last
Obviously,
year, and
both
then
are white. You don't want to say it, but okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, you did say it. Sure. Yeah. But yeah, like the 4-man for a national title where they were a crucial connector and really highly efficient role player. Do they rise into stardom? And it went okay for Karaban, maybe not great. He had a bit of a shooting slump last year, and I think Hauk is still going to be better as like a hypercharged second or third option. And Fland, I mean, he played mostly in the non-conference and then really sparingly at the end when he came back from his injury. I think there's a big time player in there, and maybe Golden and staff can get it out. Kai, so I think I'm going to barely go Condon, Fland, Hauk, but I'm not married to that.
No, that's what I would say today, honestly. But like I said, Hauk has so much potential for a leap. He hits every single category in the game, offense, defense, and he's fearless. Like this guy is tough as nails. Podcast. We're a clean podcast through and we've. Okay. I just think you saw the trajectory already from freshman to sophomore year. His O rating was 133, and we know he was a solid defender. I just think his trajectory is insane. But for their ceiling to hit, I do think Fland needs to be first team all conference level guy in the SEC. You saw him eye test wise when he played at the beginning of the year for Arkansas. I mean, he popped for me. He was incredible. Their best player, maybe not the best usage when Nelly Davis kind of sat on the bench, and we'll not blame Flam for that necessarily. He didn't translate to winning, so that's a concern. But I'm not sure I'm putting that all on him. So I'll say the same at the end of the day for as Jim. Condon, slightly behind him, Flan, slightly behind him, Hauk.
Yeah, Lee and Flan, how they play off each other, who has the ball in their hands the most, what responsibilities are handed out. I'll be really intrigued on that. And yeah, Flan can be streaky. I want to see how he grows in his role. I should mention Urban. I think it's Cloud Jar is the way he pronounces it. I think he's probably their best shooter going into the season. He didn't play a ton last season. He's going to get more minutes, and they might need him. I'm not saying Florida will be devoid of 3-point shooting. I'm just saying the evidence isn't there right now that that's going to be. Let me see what they were last season. It's not going to be a top 50 team in 3-point accuracy next season. Last season Well, how about this? Florida was 82nd in the country, 35.6, and they had better. I mean, they objectively had much better shooting and more options there than they seemingly will have here. But we'll see what comes of it. Percentage-wise, guys, before we get to the rundown for non-conference and all that good stuff, just percentage that Florida not even wins the national title. Although I think that's fairly on the table. Final Four run again, knowing that the tournament can be a random results generator. We get all that, but assign a seeding. It sounds like you guys are of the mind that Florida, 2 seed, 3 seed, maybe one of you guys thinks they're top 4 heading into the season. That can equate to a 1 seed if you believe, but Final Four run for Florida in 2026. Both of you guys give me a percentage. Jim, you're up first.
I will say 25%, 20%. I'll go down to 20% because I think they're going to be in that mix for 1 or 2 seed, which automatically gets you into, not automatically, sorry, to 15 and 16 seeds, but gets you into the second round, very most likely. Mm-hmm. And I think they have a high floor with the rebounding and the interior rim protection. So I don't think they're going to be super prone to getting upset. It just comes down to some of those late game bounces where they got a lot of them in this year's tournament run across multiple different games. It's hard to count on those again coming next year.
Yeah, pretty similar. I mean, I'd say 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 ish.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a percentage.
20 to 30%. I would say.
No, I need an exact percentage, Kai.
25% chance that Florida makes the.
That is, by the way,
four.
That's extremely high.
Well, here it's because of the landscape of college basketball. In my opinion, there's a smaller amount of elite teams this season. I think it drops off really quick after Houston, Purdue, Florida. Throw UConn in the mix there. I'm probably forgetting somebody.
St. John's. GP's got St. John's number 1, by the way.
Top 10, sure. Number 1. That's absolutely insane, GP. But
can we embrace? I'm going to ask Borzella about this, by the way, on the Monday show when we talk Texas Tech. Can we at least embrace though that there's diversity of thought? Like, isn't it a good thing?
Oh, absolutely.
You've got people that follow the sport. I always say this. I know I repeat myself every year. I want at least 4 or 5 teams getting acknowledgement to be potentially number 1 because I can't stand it when we get to October 29th and everyone's like, it's either team A or team B. And I know we're probably heading that way with Houston and Purdue, but I don't flinch at you giving GP a little bit of a little bit of flack for that. I think he's starting. We had Painter on the show, and now he's starting to be like, what have I done? But anyway, continue.
No. Yeah, almost finished. I think Florida's an elite team. There's not many of those this year, and Golden's been there before. I think that really, really matters. The experience. He's got a couple of guys back that have been there, done that now with the national title. That's really hard to, I guess, tangibly say how much that means in college basketball, but I really think it does. I think it's important.
Fair enough. And I think we are all, on the same page that we believe Florida will have a better season here. Now, UConn was coming off 2 straight titles, so it's unlikely to have a better season than, UConn 24 is just outrageously dominant. But coming off a national championship, UConn was obviously doing it again last season. We think Florida will be better this season than UConn was last season. We'll see if they can. Speaking as a reporter and someone who just loves the sport, if we actually got to be able to witness and cover and talk about and write about and podcast about getting to watch 2 different schools in 4 consecutive years win back-to-back championships, that would be wild. I don't think we'll get it, but it certainly is. It's on the table. So with that, let's get to the non-con schedule portion, and we're going to go regular season win total. So first of all, we're going to queue up some little background music here. Okay, set the mood, fellas. You guys do any music cues on the old 3-man weave pod? Mix that in yet?
Production value is low at 3-man weave.
Maybe that's for the better.
Yeah, we're also. I think we're always worried about trademark patent or trademark infringement.
This is royalty free, my friends. 2 words for you.
Smart man.
As Craig Kilborn once said, 2 words for you: pizza delivery. I'm giving you 2 more: royalty free.
That's good advice.
Old school Sports Center reference, by the way. Non-con schedule for the Gators. Opening night, November 3rd, Arizona and Vegas. I love it. We're going to have some real pop here, and I'll keep on with the schedule, but just as an aside, the past couple of seasons overall for non-con stuff in college basketball has been really good. I got to really take it all in, give it a couple more weeks to see everything. I do feel like we might be heading toward maybe our strongest non-conference schedule in college basketball in a generation. Florida and Arizona will kick it off in Vegas there. Then Gators got their in-state rival, Florida State, on November 11th. That's a home game. These are all high major games, not including the bye games, obviously. November 16th, versus Miami and Jacksonville. And Miami obviously has Jay Lucas, year one coach there. November 27 and 28 is the Rady Children's Invitational in San Diego. They're going to play TCU first and then either Providence or Wisconsin. So the way that sets up right now, it feels like Florida outclasses that field. December 2nd at Duke in the SEC ACC Challenge. You got Shire and Golden, two of the more talented, obviously prominent young coaches in the game. And then the final non-conference game of note, and I love this, is December 9th against UConn. So you have not only an NCAA tournament rematch, but the three most recent national champions playing. I mean, this is special stuff for college basketball. That's going to be at the Garden for the Jimmy V. So you got Zona, Florida State, Miami, TCU, then either Providence and Wisconsin at Duke versus UConn. And then SEC, keep an eye. Only 18-game schedule for the SEC. They open at Missouri on January 3rd. Here are your two plays for Florida. They get Kentucky, South Carolina, and Georgia. Now, South Carolina and Georgia are their every year two plays, and then the third team gets rotated in. So, fortunately, the SEC, frankly, I understand why Georgia's got to be there. Like, they can just boot South Carolina and make Kentucky an every year two play.
Mm-hmm.
SEC,
hey, agree.
We can figure this out. Only at home, guys. I don't know if you've dug into this yet or not. Florida last year, it was tough, and what they did was mighty impressive schedule-wise. Like they had a loaded schedule. This year, they get Auburn, Bama, Arkansas, Tennessee in Gainesville. They don't have to go there. Their two toughest road games are Texas and Ole Miss. Like last year, it was Bama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, all on the road. I think they had a two-play with Tennessee, right? Yeah, because they flipped those. They were both blowouts in respect to the other one. But last year was insane. This year, it swings back all the other way. This is why I think it's going to affect what I'm going to put in the regular season win total. But that's, broadly speaking, what we're looking at here with the Gators. The goal is to predict what they will have in the win column heading into the SEC tournament. Kai, I will go to you first. What in 31 games, what will be the record for the Gators next season?
All right. I'm saying 2 losses in the non-con.
Call them out.
Duke. They're going to lose at Duke, and they're going to lose to UConn as well.
Okay, so they beat Arizona on the opening night of the season and no other hiccups there. Okay, got it. Yep.
That's right. In the SEC, I think they'll lose 4 games. So they're going to drop one of the 2 plays, probably Kentucky, on the visit to Kentucky, and they will split a road game at Texas Ole Miss, so they'll drop one of those, and one of Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee will beat them in Gainesville. Mm-hmm. I will go with Alabama.
Okay, and that gives you how many wins?
6 losses. We're saying 31 games, 25 and 6.
25 and 6. That's mighty high praise. Jim, what do you got?
I'm going to go with 24. And real quick, you mentioned this, Matt. I just want to give a shout out to like John Shire, Todd Golden, Nate Oates, Dan Hurley. All these guys schedule really difficult in the non-conference. These guys coming off national titles. I love to see it. It's better for the fans, better for the sport. So quick hat tip to them. 24. I'm going to echo the 14-4 in the SEC. But I'm going to say they lose all 3 of the Arizona, Duke, UConn. Really tough trifecta. That's tough travel to start the year, going all the way across the country to Arizona. And then they're back, not to Arizona, to Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Vegas, but yeah, still the same.
Yeah. Then they're back home. Then they go all the way back to California for that Children's Invitational. It's a lot of traveling. We've seen some coaches lament the cross-country work in conference play. I think
you're going to have Golden pull to Mick Cronin, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, maybe not publicly, but I doubt he's real amped for it. I just think that those are really tough tests in tough places for a team that's starting to still figuring things out in the backcourt early. I do think they'll be better than Arizona for the season, but going far away and figuring that out right at the top of the season could be tough. So 3 losses in the non-conference out of that group: Arizona, Duke, and UConn. In the league play, I am going to go with 14-4 as well. I almost went 15-3 because of how home tilted the schedule is, and I do think they're a interesting look for a potential SEC title because of the way the schedule sets up. But I'll say split with Kentucky, lose at Vandy in that really unconventional road environment, lose at Mizzou, Kai, despite the revenge factor for losing at the O-Dome at home last year, and then 1 home loss, and that one's going to be to Tennessee, Rick Barnes and co.
That would be 2 Tennessee wins in a row at the O-Dome, right? Was it last year? Or do I have that?
Last year, I think they split. They each won at home. And
each won at home, but it was blowout fashion. Okay.
Yeah, bare knuckle brawl type stuff.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so you got him so Kai's got him at 25. Jim's got him at 24. I'll keep the pattern. I'm going to say 23. Now I want to say 24 because Florida's SEC schedule is, I think, now I haven't looked at all of them. I think it's about as advantageous as any team in the league, just with the way that everything's breaking down with all that. And before we get out of here, I'm going to ask the guys how many bids they think the league will get next season. The situation Jim just laid out, if we have a 3-loss Florida, or even call it, like, you didn't say this, but if we had like a 4-loss Florida team going into league play, be interesting to see just a discussion around them. And, if they lose to Arizona, Duke, UConn, those are, I think objectively, those will be the 3 toughest teams they played. Just a discussion around, okay, can they settle in here? What's the SEC? Golden challenges himself, and they'll be steady, I'm sure. But if that scenario does play out, I think that'll be pretty interesting. I think they open and close on the road, by the way. So they open at Mizzou and they close on the road as well against Kentucky, I believe. I actually don't have that up in front of me, but I think that stands a lot to close out UK. I will go 23-8. With them losing only twice, Duke and UConn. I'll say they beat Zona. I don't think the SEC will be as good next season, but I still think it's going to be tough. And I think they get picked off at Texas. I think they get picked off at Ole Miss. They get picked off somewhere else. So that's 5. And then, 2 of Tennessee, Arkansas, Bama, Auburn. And primarily it goes to what we talked about before. That front court's going to be stacked. And it might be a just shoot it, pick up the garbage, insane offensive rebound rate, take advantage. And we even just see even Chinliu is 15% better of a player. If they are all of that and they are outperforming what I think they might be from the perimeter, then I'm going to be wrong. But I just want to see how the pieces all come together. And I want to see how Lee and Flan play off each other and how they play off the ball and everything that comes with that. So I will go 23-8, but a good 23-8. The best 23-8 team that'll be there in the sport next season. GP's got him 6. Respectively, where do you guys each have Florida right now?
3rd for me.
3rd.
I think I was 3 as well.
Wow.
I don't know my rankings, but yeah, I think
Super
I was
high.
3. We are so the same.
Yeah, so much for the diversity of opinion coming from the weave.
Hive mind, weave mind.
Correct. Well, I'm here to mix it up because I'm sure Matty Cox would have been like, yeah, I'm taking them 3 as well. No, not happening. I will, again, I don't know where I'm going to put them. I'll release my top 101 rankings in October. Broadly, I would think I will have Florida somewhere between 9 and 13 or 14. They've got plenty of promise and belief to think that they can be one of the best teams in the country, but I think there is room for them to slip. And as you guys know, every year, just pluck 2 or 3 teams in the preseason top 10. They're not going to meet expectations. It's hard for us. Once you go through an entire offseason, you do all the research, the writing, the podcasting, and you talk yourself into, this looks good. That's not how it works. Sometimes it can be, unfortunately, because of injuries or other factors as well. Florida will truly be the hunted next season. We'll see how that works. All right, let's wrap up with this. SEC, 14 bids last season. It's borderline impossible that they're going to get 14 again. But maybe you guys are going to surprise me right now. Jim, you first, then Kai. How many bids for the SEC in 2026?
I'm going with 11. I've got 12 teams graded as NCAA inside the number, but I think they'll be, the snake eating its tail a little bit. Those 6 and 12 SEC records won't look as good. 7 and 11, not as good next year. And I think the ACC will be a little better, and the Big Ten will get a ton of teams. Maybe not the Big East, but I think down to 11 next year for me. Kai, what do you say?
I was going to say 11, Jim, but I went 12.
You better not.
I went 12 because the Big East will be pretty bad, and I think there's a chance they could get 3 teams. I think they'll get 4, but probably 3. So I think the SEC still gets the benefit of that. ACC is better, but still not really great in the grand scheme of things. I think the Big Ten will get another bid or 2. So 12 seems right. Who misses? Really good question. I have A&M and Georgia missing the cut. South Carolina, LSU.
Okay, fair. I think I'll go 10. 10's still a healthy number. Big 12 only got 7 teams in last year, guys, right? It's going to be better. Big 12 will get more than that next season. Mm-hmm. I find it hard to believe that it wouldn't find a way, some way, somehow to make that happen. And I think we'll have a team or 2 pop up and make some noise that might be even a little bit unexpected. 14 is an outrageous mark. It really is. That I guess, if they actually decide to go against the will of the American populace and expand the tournament with a 76-team tournament like we will see it again at some point, but it'll still be hard to do. There's just no way to expect that they can do 14 again. I think 12 is on the table. 10 is probably the least likely, so maybe it winds up being 11. Still be another, got a lot of talent here, a lot of money spent, a lot of really good coaches. We went over that as well. How the SEC follows it up will be interesting, but it is objectively coming off the greatest single season in the history of college basketball. No conference had ever had that. No conference had not only had that many teams, no conference had accounted for that high of a percentage of its league making the tournament, regardless of the size of the field in the 80-plus year history of the NCAA tournament. And then not just that, you get 2 of your teams to the Final Four, and you have your team win the whole thing. So, you hit your apex. You've peaked, SEC. I don't know what to tell you, but certainly something to be proud about. Before we get out of here, guys, promote away. Everything and anything. Take it away. Mike's yours.
All right, we've got basket under review. We talked about it at the top. That's the big thing we're working on right now. The top 50 countdown. We've got 1,000+ word previews of every single team in that top 50 countdown, releasing one a day, Monday through Friday, every day. We'll have released 50 through 36 to this point. So definitely want people to join in and join the Discord and discuss with us there. There's an easy forum to critique us, especially the coach rankings. If you did not like them, you can come straight to us, basically straight to our desks and slam your fists on it and tell us why we're wrong. So join the basket under review, $10 a month. And that'd be the best way to support us. And Kai, listen to the 3 Man Weave pod too, right? What else did I miss?
3 Man Weave podcast live Fridays, usually 7 a.m. Central on YouTube or, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was extremely efficient, Kai. You could have even gone more. Listen, follow these guys. Matty Cox as well when he's back in the fold. I think he's in the middle of a move again. So congrats to him. And I know he's gotten his life together. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and helping us. GP and I are, we don't typically have a lot of guests on, but our boss has said, hey, why don't you guys not worry about having to do every single summer shoot around? Just one of you be on every single show, bring your guests on. And it's been really well received. And I know this one will be as well, because you guys do incredible work. For anyone watching on YouTube or listening that is not familiar with 3 Man Weave, first of all, you're way in the dark. These guys have been doing amazing work for nearly a decade now, and they are as well-rounded and analytically sound in their approach, both with the written word and on YouTube and with their podcast and all that stuff as any that you could possibly ask for. So you got a really smart following, intelligent following. I hope they appreciated this collab, if you will. And it was my pleasure having you guys on. Not that you'd ever want it, but if you need me to return the favor and make an appearance, I'm more than happy to do so. And I hope to cross paths with you guys at some point this season before we get to the Final Four. But nonetheless, it's always great to see you, at the season's culmination.
Hey, we appreciate you having us. Yeah, I mean, we send people your way whenever there's stuff that's too smart for us, over our heads on the Weave. We send them to Eye on CBB. So pumped to be here, and very happy we were able to collab.
Well, thank you so much to everyone watching, listening. Appreciate you again. Reminder: auctions. You've got now less than a week, and get in there and bid right now. As of when I did the PSA earlier, all 3 auctions have bids. They are all from the same Alabama fan who registered under a different name. So please get in there. And we do want to raise money for St. Jude. And I can speak for Parrish and I on this. We love finding out which team wins. It can be anyone. I mean, Bellarmine won one year, and we went and bought Bellarmine shirts. And it doesn't matter if you are a fan of a Division I. I got to be clear about this, Division I school, that we're more than happy and willing to accommodate. So get in there, please bid. The auction ends on August 14th at 5 Eastern. There are 3 different ones. One is 5 Eastern, and then if you lose on that one, there's one that ends at 6 Eastern, and then there's the third one that will end at 7 Eastern. So you'll have plenty of opportunities if you lose out on the first or second one. That's it from me. This is probably going to be the longest shoot-around episode, but I wanted it to be, because why? We just ran a 3-minute weave. We ran a 50-minute 3-man weave. Keep it locked here. The next episode will be on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and we're bringing back an old friend to the podcast. Who is it? You'll have to wait for Monday's show to find out. Until then, take care.